are today at 110 West 3rd Street in Howell, New Jersey. This was the childhood home where His Eminence Samtulku Rinpoche grew up in. And you'll see it's a massive house. And it was built by hand by Rinpoche's foster parents, Boris and Dana Bugayev. This is the backyard of the Bugayev's house. You can see it's pretty massive, and they used to have loads of family gatherings and parties and lunches out here in the backyard.
Just remember this little boy who kept coming. He kept knocking on the door and coming here with Buddha drawings he had drawn and colored, and he wanted to talk about Buddhas.
We went to pick him up, I think it was somewhere April or May, and it must have been May. And we got the call, so we went to, drove to Philadelphia to pick him up. And we got him, and he was this little person, and he was really small and, you know, skinny, and but he was a happy person. And then we got him in the car, and we rode home with him, and he didn't speak any English, so it was difficult. But we managed, and then Dechen Ming came and stayed with us and was the translator for us, and that helped out a lot. Basically, it was decided by Dechen Ming. She wanted to bring him over from Taiwan, and they did that, and then she wanted him to go to a family, and we had spent a lot of time with her and her daughter, so she decided that my parents would be good parents for him, and she asked and said, would you, take him, and they said, okay.
When I was little, he made me the most amazing dollhouse. And I tell the story because there's two things that I remember him so fondly from was this beautiful dollhouse that he made me, complete with little curtains and everything. Like it was just amazing. And then shortly after that, he made me the most beautiful doll out of corn husks. Even at that young age that I was just so amazed at that, and that will stay with me forever. That image of him, of this young boy making like something so special. Like most kids wouldn't make a dollhouse for somebody from scratch. Like for no reason. For no reason. Yeah. And he did. His giving nature.
He was funny. We had a pool in our backyard when Rinpoche first came. I guess he never went swimming ever before. Yeah. So we'd go swimming and didn't know what the heck he was talking because he was speaking in Taiwanese. Just splashing and smiling. He was a really happy-go-lucky kid. Always smiling, very good disposition when we were younger. I want to introduce you to everybody. These people are all from Malaysia.
Oh, Malaysia. Oh, yeah.
My cousin is a Rinpoche, I told you. Did I tell you? Yes.
Yeah,
These are his students, and they're making a autobiography of his life. He's building a very large temple there for 700 people. He's building right now. They're in the middle of building we're almost finished. Largest Tsongkhapa statue, right? 118 feet, Buddha.
Oh.
How nice.
I don't think his childhood maybe was as happy or as carefree as ours was. Yeah. But I don't, I wasn't living in the home. And like I said, the few times that I was in there, it was always very quiet. Everything was always very perfect.
His parents wanted to raise him
as, you know, the way a boy would have been raised, you know, in Western Mongolia. But here he was in America with all the Western influence, and you know, he wanted to be his own person. And I think they were very, almost more than the other parents of the comic kids I knew, I think they fought him especially hard on that. So he was forced to kind of be two people, which I think is why. So we would go to his home and he would be the, you know, the proper, you know, comic son. Yeah. And then we would go as far away as we possibly could, you know, to Turkey Swamp on our bikes. You know, I don't remember serious injuries, but it was very common, you know, that he would be hit, he would be abused, you know, have a bruise or maybe a black eye in school and things like that. And that was not unusual for Birch. And it was also not unusual for some of the other comic kids.
It was always stress. I think I was the only, I had an ulcer by the time I was 17. It was very stressful. You just never knew, but you just took it one day at a time. The teenage years in high school and everything was quite traumatic and tumultuous. I mean, you just never knew.
In what way?
Well, you just never know. It was like walking on eggshells. You didn't know when, you know, an outburst would happen or something, and it just, you know, if you go a whole day without an outburst, you know, and then it's another day, and it's like it was a good week. So you just never knew. But you're a child. You don't have control. You never have control.
I even told Bridget that same thing. I said, no matter what, how it was not her. It was her sickness that was doing to you. I says, you know, she loved you. She'll never say no. You want something, she'll do it and make it. That's how kind she was, you know. She had a heart of gold. Always giving. Donna used to always buy us with me and Gija. I was infant, so and Gija was maybe 3 years old, maybe that time. So it was a lot of things that she had to, you know, take care of it, you know. Not much as my older sister, but Donna was the one, you know, she wanted to do, she wanted to help. Even in Germany, she was always the one who brought food, find the food for us, nobody else.
But I do remember him always coming to our house and saying I told my parents I'm coming over here, but he was really going over to the temple because the Rashi Gempil Ling was only right around the corner from our house. So that was a big secret. There was no way that they could find out that he was going there and taking, you know, like lessons from the monk there. But he couldn't even speak about, even just having like a normal person can say, I believe in God, or I'm very spiritual, or he couldn't say that to them. You would think that if somebody spoke to me that way, even if I didn't feel the same way, I would appreciate that they did. And they couldn't appreciate it. They tried to squash it down. I think they wanted him to just be this good little Kalmyk boy who grew up and married a Kalmyk girl and carried on Boris's name. That's what I think was really in the back of his mind.
He used to sit in the closet and pray.
In the closet?
Yeah, in his room upstairs because Donna wouldn't let him. And so he used to hide from her and pray. So that I remember because there was big arguments all the time over that. And then she didn't like Geshe Tarchin because he was the one teaching him whatever. And she, as a matter of fact, went and argued with Geshe Tarchin. And that's when, I think, not too long after that, he ran away from home.
Apparently, Rinpoche had shared with us that she was going around the Kalmyk community talking about Geshe Tarchin and saying bad things. Do you remember any of the things that she said?
No.
But did you hear those rumors that she was?
I heard that she, as a matter of fact, she told us that she had an argument with him, but that's about it.
Okay.
I don't know about whether she told everybody else, but I like Gashi Tarchin. So,
What did she say about the argument? Did she tell you what she said? Or?
because he was teaching Burcha to pray, and she didn't want that because she wanted Burcha to get married and have children and stuff. I was glad for him.
That he wanted to be a monk.
No, that he became whatever he, I was proud of him. That's the one thing that to attain whatever place he has, and it's a pretty big honor. I always thought that it was inside of him, not because somebody was teaching him or whatever. It had to be inside of him. He had to want to really be whatever.
And I babysat for him one summer because there was no school, so they needed somebody to watch him all day. And he was just, I was telling you, he was mischievous and a real prankster. When I was older, when I was babysitting for him, I was 15.
Okay.
By the time I was 17, 18, I got my driver's license. So that's when I used to drive him around all the time. I'd call him up and say, "Want to go to the boardwalk with me?" Or he'd come over and I'd say, "Let's take a ride to the boardwalk." Because I was obsessed with Ms. Pac-Man. But I would take him to the arcade all the time and play Ms. Pac-Man, and we'd play like the poker games and everything. And it was just fun, just to go away.
We're a very close family. I mean, obviously, we had my 3 aunts and my uncle all live in the Howell area here, and we lived in Lakewood, which is not only 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. So as a family, we grew up with all of our first cousins, so we were more than just first cousins, we were like brothers and sisters, because we were all kind of around the same age, and I remember he would be over at our house for a few weeks, sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just hanging out with us, watching us, because my mother worked shift work, so she was there for us in the morning, but she'd have to go to work at night. And if my father had to work late or anything like that, and little Brucha would watch us. He would be babysitting us.
Like I said, he was like our protector. I don't think he ever let on when he was upset or sad. And if he was sad, he would just say, "It's okay, I'll get over it." He'll hug us or rock us, or, he was very, when we needed him to be there for us, he was always there for us. And I remember this one time when my mother was working late and he was babysitting and all the power went out. And it was like a bad storm. It was like huge, like thunders and lightnings, and it was like, and I think it was, I'm trying to think if it was before the explosion next door. We were scared, and so, Rinpoche had said, all right, he made this little altar like on the floor out of a box. He draped it, and that was one thing that he always taught us, was how you should handle the Buddhas, and how you should handle everything should be clean and neat, kept in a neat place. Always giving it the respect. And so he had draped over. He had went and found this really nice cloth, laid it over. He had done the oils and did the candles and the incense, and he got my mom's mala beads. And I remember him showing us how to do our hands, because he was the one that he had said it was like we would have to hold our hands with our thumbs in. And for the longest time we would always hold it like this. And he's like, no, you got to hold it with your thumbs in. And he was the one that showed us how to do that. He had us all recite Om Mani Padme Hum. And he kept saying, okay, let's just say it. Everyone close your eyes and let's just say it, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And he's like, if we say it enough, it's, everything's going to be better. And that's how he got us through that night.
our favorite memory with him was singing Donna Summers. And always being the youngest one, you know, you always kind of like cast off to the side, but me and my sisters would always be the backup singers. And I remember one time begging him, can I please sing lead? I want to sing lead, you know? And he'd be like, the next song, the next song. Never got to sing lead.
Did he ever say why?
No, he just enjoyed singing the lead. And he was good, don't get me wrong. He was very good. He was like a big brother to me and my sisters. We, you know, we did everything together, and we saw him as that. He took care of us. He'd always hug us and make us feel so belonged and so loved, and it was a constant thing every time we saw him. It was in sincerity that not many people, you know, show, and he definitely showed, and it was very, very much known that he cared very much about you.
We're here now in Rashi Gempil Ling, which was the family temple of Rinpoche's foster father, Boris. So this is the main prayer hall, and this is where Rinpoche spent most of his time whenever he had any spare time. And of the 3 Mongolian temples that were in Hao, Rinpoche spent most of his time here in Rashi Gempil Ling. So he would come here whenever he had free time and do hundreds and thousands of mantras and prostrations and prayers. He would come here to receive teachings from Sarame Khenso Lobsang Tachin Rinpoche, and it would have been in this very gompa, in this room, that Rinpoche received the Vajrayagini initiation when he was a teenager, which was really one of the most significant moments of his life, even up until now.
What I remember about Rinpoche is he didn't find a lot of time to play, do the things that I was in common with me. He would go to church a lot and spend a lot of time at the temple. I went to the Nitsan one, right there on 6th Street, and I took him there a couple of times because, you know, we normally did that after school. We'd say, okay, let's go to church, and he would stay there longer than I, and I would go back and play. But as we got older, he started spending a lot more time at the church.
From the very beginning, he is something different than other boys. You know, other boys are different. Oh, he's young. I know he's coming here. He is Rinpoche, them incarnated.
Yes.
Something like a holy man past lifetime. He familiar with the Tankas paintings, Buddhas. And he come here. And young, and he never go out, you know. And then he looking at the Buddha's picture, and he's so interested. And and then I go somewhere, and coming back, he's still there looking at Buddha. And then I thought, oh yeah, he's some kind of, not somebody teach him to come here, but from his inside.
The main thing was he went and found the Geshe Tsutim Gyaltsen and Khyaltse Song Rinpoche, and everything else really didn't matter. Everything else was just things that happened. But the main thing was he was telling about how he met Khyaltse Song Rinpoche, and that eclipsed everything bad.
Do you remember him meditating in Turkey Swamp?
I do, yeah.
By the lake?
By the lake, and more so, in order to get away from everybody, because there's a little boardwalk at the lake at Turkey Swamp, and in order to get away from everybody, you would have had to walk to the other side of the lake, where there was no boardwalk. And we would go to the other side, and you could see the lake then through the trees, and that was a better place to meditate.
You see up there, that's Highway 9. This is West 3rd Street, which is just off the highway. And it was at that very spot that Rinpoche stood to hitchhike to run away to New York.
He had a hard time in New Jersey, and he wanted to come to LA. Why? It was pushing him to come here for some reason. And I think that reason was to be with Geshe-la and his Sangren Rinpoche and teachers like that instead of, he had to get away. And he had a very difficult time. He had no money. And when he came here, he was broke. And so Geshe-la, he got in with Geshe-la, and Geshe-la took him in. And then he told him, you're still going to have to go out and get a job. Life is tough. It's not easy. He didn't have a sponsor. Nobody has sponsors out here very much. You have to work for everything. He told Geshe-la that he wanted to be his attendant. And Geshe-la said, okay. Virtually at that time, he really went and he did a lot of work for Geshe-la. Like I said, he had even anticipated the things that he needed. He knew how to do that. He never said no. Geshe-la would send him to the store. Okay, put on his shoes and run. And he'd run. He'd run to the store. You need something real quick? Okay, okay. You need something copied? Okay. He never said no to Geshe-la. But I look at him as a living Buddha. And you're so very fortunate to have his lineage and to have him teach you. Whatever it is, if you don't like his teachings, whatever it is, you get something out of him, just being with him. He is a living Buddha. So, and that's what he was like. Somebody needed help, he was there to help them. He didn't ask me, oh, can you help me take this down, or can you help me do this? He was volunteering if he could help you. And it made him so happy to help somebody else that he got to do something for somebody else. And when they go on away smiling and everything, he was happy.
He's just the same now.
He's the same one. I'm glad he's still that way. Yeah, I'm so glad. My Rinpoche now. Yeah.
Small boy with very, very strong Dharma inclinations.
He was a kind kid.
You can feel it in him that he was something special.
To him, I am so in awe just hearing about what you've accomplished and what you're doing.
Silly, caring, and fun. I always remember him to be fun.
A fond childhood memory, a big part of my childhood.
Ever since he came into my life, he was a very unusual child.
He was always smiling and always happy. He was a happy little person. And
he's knowledgeable and very compassionate.
Some parts of it is sad, and some parts of it is, I guess, sort of happy. And now I hope he's happy right now. I am so proud of him.